Good evening. The March 17th, 2025 legislative session of the Anne Arundel County Council is called to order. Please ensure all phones and electric devices are set to silent. Ms. Fiedler will lead us in the invocation.
Please stand. Please pray in a manner consistent with your faith as I pray in a manner consistent with mine. Dear Lord, as we come together today to discuss important matters, we ask for your guidance and wisdom in our decision-making process. Help us to not only listen to one another, but hear one another with an open mind willing to understand different perspectives. We pray for clear minds, efficient communication, and careful thought. We ask for your presence in this meeting as we strive to be productive and efficient in our discussions, serving the residents of Anne Arundel County. In your name, amen.
We have some guests tonight. We have scouts from Ship 1959 and Troop 446 B and G. Welcome, everyone. And some of the scouts will now lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
All right. Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Secretary, please read the ethics statement.
The Ethics Commission has asked that I advise you that under certain circumstances, members of the public may qualify as lobbyists when they testify before the County Council. If so, the law requires that certain information be filed with the Ethics Commission. The chair of the Ethics Commission has asked that those who wish to testify in any form review the general information on lobbying sheet located on the Ethics website under Forms and Publications. If there are any questions about lobbying requirements, please contact the Ethics Commission at 410-222-4412.
Before we open our discussions and public hearings, I would like to remind everyone in attendance, whether testifying or as a member of the audience, we must maintain decorum at all times within these chambers. Please understand that individual conversations in the audience are very disruptive to the proceedings, and I would kindly ask you to step out of the chambers if a side discussion is necessary. We will now open our invitation to the audience. This is an opportunity to speak briefly on any subject not included in the printed agenda. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, we received 2 pieces which have been shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it is your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts using our online testimony tool. Brianka Wallace and Kurt Svensson. Go right ahead.
Okay, thanks. Kurt Svensson, Arnold, Maryland. Over a year ago, I called to your attention how county government directly contributes to the problem of housing affordability for those with low and moderate incomes who have achieved home ownership but struggle to maintain it. I was reminded of this last week when I read a news article about a pending bill in Montgomery County which amends their supplement to the homeowner's property tax credit, which looks very much like what I was urging last year. To illustrate, I'm going to share the story of Jane Doe. She's a 62-year-old widow. Nearly 30 years ago, she and her husband bought a modest home on the edge of a residential community in North County. Built in the 1940s, this 1,000-square-foot detached home has a value of $180,000 for county tax purposes. Jane supplements her spousal survivor's benefit by working about 30 hours a week. Her gross income is $35,000. Her property tax bill of $1,800 consumes more than 5% of her income. This is significantly higher than the median property tax burden in this county. Jane is eligible for the county's homeowners property tax credit program, but because of the percentages assigned to the various income tiers, when you enter her data into the formula, it yields a credit of 0. If the county's program was amended as I proposed last year, or even just to resemble the existing program in Montgomery County, Jane would get a credit of $1,000, and her tax bill of $800 would represent 2.5% of her income. That's more in line with the median property tax burden in this county. Please amend this program to work as advertised. This will not reduce county revenue, just redistributing the tax burden. Let's at least have a public debate over this policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sensen. So if there is anyone else here who wishes to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up to the table and state your name, address, and topic before making your remarks. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. So I know we have a couple of people, and then I know, too, that there's some from the Scouts who wish to speak as well. So, Mr. Waddy.
Hello, my name is Stephen Waddy. I live at 7968 Heathermas Drive in Severn, Maryland. I'm the president of the Anne Arundel County NAACP. My organization has confronted the onslaught of anti-blackness, anti-woman, anti-poor, anti-immigrant, and anti-LGBTQ hostility that has emanated from the white nationalists that are currently running this country. Our members in this county are losing jobs under the illegal, racist austerity measures being imposed on by the federal government on us. We've had people that work for the Department of Education come up to me at my installation at Annapolis Baptist Church, who said that they had lost their job, and they were grateful to tell me that they were able to get some of the data that they knew they were able to scrub some of the data. They were able to get some of the data that would be scrubbed from the website, from the Department of Education. And at our meeting on Saturday, the NAACP meeting, we did see that information has been scrubbed on how to file a civil rights action claim with the Department of Education. Our branch did file a civil rights action claim against this county in 2004. And so now that option is unavailable to us or others who may want to do it. They have less guidance on how to file a claim and less guidance on what types of claims to file because of the fact that we have this racist criminal running our federal government right now. So we need some policy prescriptions from this county in an emergency way. We need foreclosure prevention for people that are losing their jobs for absolutely no reason. I'm going to end with that one because I know my time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Waddy. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Paul Higgins from Pasadena. Tonight I want to talk to you. We're getting ready. You're in that heat of the budget moment, and I go to work every day right up Route 2 through Brooklyn, and I noticed that one of the county buses was coming back across Belgrove Road, one of our move buses, ride for free. And it kind of sparked my interest. Why were we running a bus into Baltimore City? So I followed that bus. Actually, I didn't have to follow it. Next day, it was in front of me, so I did follow it, and it went to Poteet Street and Patapsco Avenue. Now, at Poteet Street and Patapsco Avenue, there's a light rail station just up Patapsco Avenue that goes all the way to Cromwell Station, okay? But instead, we run a bus from there down Route 2 through Glen Burnie and into the light rail station and make a route. Now that bus is for free. Also running on that same route is an MDOT bus. Now, as I came in, actually there's two of them, the 69 and the 70. They're rallying down the street because there ain't enough money. So if we got a bus that's running for free, and the state's got a bus that they charge for, which bus do you think they're going to ride? The free one. So as a taxpayer, I feel like we're cutting MDOT and giving free rides when we shouldn't be. And I say that because I got kids that play athletics, okay? When our kids sign up for these rec leagues, they sign up and Anne Arundel County Parks and Recs charges $3 a player. The organization has to write a check to the county. That's a tax that's being collected by the nonprofit. Plus the coaches have to pay $7. So on one hand, I'm giving free bus rides, and on the other hand, I'm charging kids to play on the fields.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Scouts, whoever wants to go first.
Good evening. My name is Moira, and I attend Prince George's Community College. I am a Sea Scout from Ship 1959, which is chartered to the Seafarers Foundation. Did you know that Scouting is one of the largest youth-serving organizations in Anne Arundel County? Today, we'd like to provide county leadership with an update on the Scouting program in Anne Arundel County for 2024 and share some of the lasting positive impacts Scouting has had on our community. Scouting offers a variety of programs beyond traditional troops and packs. One of those programs is Sea Scouts, which I am a part of, which focuses on sailing, boating, and maritime skills while providing leadership opportunities on the water. Sea Scouts gain hands-on experience in navigation, vessel maintenance, and safety, preparing them for future careers and lifelong adventures. In Anne Arundel County, we have 2 ships, both work closely with the Coast Guard Auxiliary. Now, I'll hand it over to MJ, who will share some key accomplishments of our Scouts over the past years.
Thank you, Maura. My name is Marcus Parker, and I attend Chesapeake Science Point. I am a Life Scout from Troop 446, chartered to VFW Post 160. We are proud to present the county with our annual Scout Report Card, highlighting some of the incredible accomplishments of Scouts in Anne Arundel County. Last year, 2,839 youth participated in the Scouting program, with 102 units chartered by local churches and community organizations. 1,997 adult volunteer leaders dedicated their time and energy to delivering a high-quality scouting experience each week. Our annual Scouting for Food drive collected over 26,000 pounds of food, all of which stayed within Anne Arundel County to support local food banks and pantries. Through Scouting for Food and other service projects, Scouts contributed 16,000 hours of community service last year. Scouts earned more than 5,039 merit badges, equipping them with valuable skills that will benefit them for a lifetime. In addition, Sea Scouts earn prestigious maritime certifications such as the Qualified Seaman and Small Boat Handler, and participated in major sailing and boating events. Now I'll pass it to Aiden, who will share the impact of Eagle Scouts and Sea Scouts advancing in rank, as well as the future of Scouting in our community.
Thank you, MJ. My name is Aiden Ross, and I attend Meade Senior High School. I'm a Life Scout from Troop 446, chartered to VFW Post 160. One of the highest honors in Scouting is achieving the rank of Eagle Scout. In 2024, 126 Scouts reached this milestone, leading projects that benefited local community organizations. 1,181 youth participated in Eagle Scout projects and contributed an estimated $363,000 worth of materials and improvements to our community. Similarly, Sea Scouts can earn the Quartermaster Award, which is the highest rank in Sea Scouting. This award is a symbol of leadership, seamanship, and service, much like the Eagle Scout rank. Scouting has played a crucial role in shaping us into stronger leaders, teaching us lifelong skills, and instilling a deep sense of responsibility to serve our community, whether on land or at sea. We appreciate your time, interest, and support of the Scouting program in Anne Arundel County, and we welcome your continued partnership in ensuring the success across Central Maryland. Thank you.
Thank you, Scouts. I just want to say I'm grateful to see you here. I am a longtime Scout mother myself. I have 3 Eagle Scouts and one, hopefully, who is going to be getting it soon. So glad to have it. And Mr. Smith, this is his son's troop that's out here today for some of the members of his troop. So thank you for giving us an update on Scouting. Ms. Fiedler.
Oh, I have my light on accidentally, but I did want to just comment. You all very, in a very articulate and effective manner, told us your purpose and cause and background, divided among the three of you. We often tell groups when they come out to testify before the county council, this is how they should testify. You knocked it out of the park. You are a perfect example for communities that come out. Thank you so much.
And we didn't mean to diminish in any way the testimony from our other speakers as well. But you did get upstaged a little bit tonight by our scouts. So, all right, you may all be seated. The invitation to audience is now closed. Is there any item any council member would like to place on the agenda? Okay. May I have a motion that the partial reading of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution, or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the minutes of the legislative session of the March 3rd and the closed meeting minutes of March 3rd and 11th, 2025.
The meeting minutes of the legislative session on March 3rd. The County Council meeting was called to order by Chair Hummer at 7:02 p.m. It was opened with the invocation given by Ms. Hummer, was followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. The meeting was held in the County Council chambers in Annapolis, Maryland. The minutes of the closed session on March 3rd. A closed meeting was held on March 3rd, 2025, in accordance with Section 3-305B15 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss the ongoing cybersecurity attack. Chair Hummer opened the meeting at 9:05 p.m. and was held in room 143 of the Arundel Center in Annapolis, Maryland. Minutes of the closed session for March 11th. A closed meeting was held on March 11th, 2025, in accordance with Section 3-305B1 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland to discuss a personnel matter, and Section 3-305B7 of the General Provisions Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland to consult with counsel and obtain legal advice. Chair Hummer opened at 9:13 a.m. and the meeting was held in room 143 of the Arundel Center in Annapolis, Maryland.
May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the legislative session of March 3rd and the closed meeting minutes of March 3rd and 11th, 2025?
So moved, Allison Pickard.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The minutes of the legislative session of March 3rd and the closed meeting minutes of March 3rd and 11th, 2025 stand approved as read. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the bills to be introduced this evening.
Bill number 2525, an ordinance concerning branches of county government, executive branch, public safety, Department of Animal Services, boards, commissions, and similar bodies, Animal Welfare Council, personnel, exempt service, public ethics, financial disclosure, Director of Animal Services. Bill number 2625, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, public charter schools.
Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the resolutions to be introduced this evening, and we will vote on resolution number 925 later on this evening.
Resolution number 925, resolution appointing members to the Public Campaign Financing System Commission.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1725.
Bill number 1725, an ordinance concerning Snug Harbor Waterways Improvement District modification.
All right. Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Stephen Thoreau, our Assistant Budget Officer, and Lori Blair-Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney. Bill 1725 we discussed at the work session. It provides for the modification of the Snug Harbor Waterways Improvement District in Shadyside by removing the property at 1702 Lake Avenue and adding 4920 Mariners Drive to the district. Purpose of this district is to provide for the repair of bulkheads, pilings, and catwalks, dredging the harbor, and future maintenance and other permitted uses. The petition has been approved by 75% of the residents of the district. Copies of those signed petitions have been provided to the council. I do know there's one technical amendment, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 1725. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 1725? Okay. The public hearing on Bill number 1725 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1725.
Bill number 1725, an ordinance concerning Snug Harbor Waterways Improvement District modification.
There is one amendment. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1.
Madam Chair, I have just been advised by the Legislative Council that this should be a technical amendment as it reads that it is a regular amendment. So I will read it as technical.
Please do.
Thank you.
Read it as a technical amendment.
This technical amendment removes 9003-0188, known as 1705 Snug Harbor Road, from the bill, making it current with code as established in Bill number 7021.
And this is my amendment being put in on behalf, it's a technical amendment that we discovered in the documents. Mr. Hunt, do you have any comment on it?
Just that we are opposed to typos in the county code, and this is one that has been around for a while, so it's correcting the bill, but the law as it exists is correct.
Yes, we have longstanding opposition to typos in the county code, so we are good on that. So may I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second? Will someone second the technical amendment? Come on, guys. Oh, did. I'm sorry, Shannon. I didn't hear you. I was like, guys, don't. Ms. Ledbetter, thank you. Is there any discussion? Administration, any comment? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on technical amendment number 1.
Ms. Pickard.
Ms. Pickard, we're voting.
Oh, aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 has been adopted, and we may now vote on the
Right.
bill
So
itself.
since this is a technical amendment, we can vote tonight. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 1725 as amended.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 1725 as amended has passed.
All right. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1925.
Bill number 1925, an ordinance concerning current expense budget, second quarter transfer, and supplementary appropriations.
All right. Wait for the gang to all come up. All right. Okay, Mr. Hunt, you have quite a crew to introduce to us.
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney, Stephen Thoreau, our Assistant Budget Officer, Rudy Holthouse, our Deputy Director from the Department of Public Works, Alex Backey, who's our Assistant Chief in the Bureau of Highways, Cedric Grant, who's the Chief Financial Officer of the Anne Arundel County Public Libraries, and Chauncey Hall, who's the Chief Programs Officer for Anne Arundel Community Development Services. This bill was discussed at the work session as well, but this provides for the transfer and supplementary appropriation of funds in the current FY25 expense budget for the second quarter. The appropriations are as follows: $481,600 of the Community Development Fund, for Emergency Rental Assistance Program, appropriation of $598,500 in the Farmington Village Special Tax District Fund, $769,000 in the Waste Collection Fund, $2,960,100 in the General Fund, which is transferred from the CAO Contingency Fund to DPW for snow removal, and $400,000 in the Library Fund from unappropriated fund balance for unrealized turnover, the Maryland host fee, a labor attorney, and Discovery Library expansion. We are happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there any discussion? We did have an extended discussion about this at the work session last week, which is available on the website if people want to go back and look at that in more detail. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 1925. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
No one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 1925? Okay. All right. The public hearing on Bill number 1925 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1925.
Bill number 1925, an ordinance concerning current expense budget, second quarter transfer, and supplementary appropriations.
Any further discussion? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 1925.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 1925 is passed.
And gentlemen, thank you all for coming out tonight. Now you can go home. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 225 as amended.
Bill number 225, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, zoning, development requirements for particular types of development, redevelopment.
All right. Got a new gang coming up. And our scouts, thank you again, scouts, for coming out tonight. Okay. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Jansen Evelyn, our Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Land Use, Jenny Dempsey, our Planning and Zoning Officer, Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, and Lori Blair Klossmeyer, our Deputy County Attorney. Bill number 225 has been discussed at several prior council meetings and the January work session. The administration is seeking approval of this legislation to incentivize and simplify the redevelopment process for existing sites in certain policy areas, specifically community overlay, critical corridor, critical economic corridor, transit-oriented development overlay, and a couple of others. I will turn it over to Mr. Evelyn if he has any additional comments he wants to make. I know we have some amendments to discuss, but we're happy to answer any questions.
All right. Anything, Mr. Evelyn?
Nothing
Okay.
to add. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. Anything from council at this time? All right. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 225 as amended. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, we received 5 pieces which have been shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. No one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 225? Okay. The public hearing on Bill number 225 as amended. Was there someone? Oh, I'm sorry. Come on in. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Ed Morris. I live in Severna Park. I am the current president of the Old Severna Park Improvement Association. We are not opposed to Bill 225, nor are we opposed to the prospect of development. But we want to emphasize that Severna Park does not fall under the need described in this bill. Our commercial space is in use, it is vibrant, it is thriving, little to none of it is blighted, nor is it vacant. Much of our retail space is uniquely accessible to pedestrians. Locally, we have workable shops, walkable shops, restaurants, and services. Via the B&A Trail, these shops and services are available to pedestrians and cyclists from BWI to the Naval Academy. And is it not this sort of mixed use precisely what Plan 24 seeks to encourage? Our roads are already under tremendous strain. OSPIA has recently concluded 1 traffic study, and we are currently engaged in 2 further traffic studies to mitigate just our current traffic impact from what we have already. Allowing high-density residential development at the cost of our local retail centers will ruin the pedestrian access that is provided by our Severna Park town centers. It will add more cars and less walkability. Further, our schools are already under pressure. As some estimates may show that there is small impact from this bill, if not amended. But given the draw that our schools have been, it is very hard to imagine that they would not be impacted. We acknowledge that there are other areas in our district that would benefit from this bill tremendously, which is why we support this bill as currently amended. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm Maureen Carr-York, president of the Greater Severna Park Council, and I am here to address the question of the other critical corridor in our district. It is on the other side, the other end of Benfield Road, if you will, and up Veterans Highway. That area is better suited to this bill, and as a result, we have not opposed the application of this bill to that area. It makes sense. The problem with the Severna Park end of Benfield is that that's our commercial district, and this particular bill would allow the commercial part of whatever parcel they target, someone would choose to target, to be completely taken out and housing put there, which would really ruin the way that our commercial area functions. And we're hoping that you will not find that this should apply there. I'd also like to say that the Veterans Highway end of our district is where 2 of our board members live with their families, as well as my daughter, her husband, and my 2 little grandbabies. And we do not oppose the application of this bill there. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak on Bill 225? Okay. The public hearing on Bill number 225 as amended is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 225 as amended.
Bill number 225, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, zoning, development requirements for particular types of development, redevelopment.
Okay. There are 5 amendments. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 13.
Amendment number 13. This amendment modifies the applicability of Article 17, Title 7, Subtitle 12 to the Glen Burnie Sustainable Community Overlay Area.
All right. Mr. Hunt?
Good evening, Jansen Ethan on behalf of the administration. As you just said, this amendment modifies the applicability. We want to ensure that that the language was clear and that there was going to be any confusion in terms of how the bill would apply, so that a developer going forward could utilize either the Glen Burnie Sustainability Overlay or the redevelopment or this current legislation.
Okay. All right. May I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt amendment number 13.
Rodvian, second.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Ms. Pickard.
I just wanted to thank the administration for bringing this amendment forward. It's very important to my community. Thank you.
Okay. Any other comment from administration?
No, Madam Chair.
All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 13.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Sorry, I'm just getting it, so I'm trying to look at it. Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 13 has been adopted.
Okay. Oh. It's not on the drive. Are the other amendments on the shared drive?
I have texted the Deputy Administrative Officer to add them.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 14.
Amendment number 14. This amendment comports the definition of substantial improvement to the definition in Article 16 of the Code.
Mr. Evelyn?
I think it's very clear. That's the reason why we want to ensure that for consistency purposes, there'd be no misunderstanding as to what we meant by that definition. That's why we added this. We introduced this amendment.
And we want to be consistent throughout the code.
Absolutely.
So, may I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion? Ms. Rodvian?
Thank you. Would it be possible to read the definition from, was it Article, I'm sorry, I need my glasses. Article 16. Thank you.
Someone have it in front of me? Sure.
I can read it. Substantial improvement means any reconstruction, rehabilitation, addition, or other improvement to a structure other than a historic structure, the cost of which equals or exceeds 50% of the state's assessed value of the structure, or an appraisal performed by a professional real estate appraiser of the market value of the structure before commencement of the reconstruction, rehabilitation, addition, or other improvement, or if the structure's been damaged and is being restored before the damage occurred, but the term does not include the minimum repairs needed to correct violations of state or county health, safety, or sanitary codes.
So, Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's my understanding that by linking into this definition in Article 16, we're in the bill, the way the bill is currently drafted, you would only be able to look at the SSTAT appraisal. This is giving a property owner the opportunity to use the SSTAT appraisal or a private appraisal. Correct?
Correct. Okay. All right. The other, Mr. Volke.
Well, it looks like it also adds this line about historic structure that's not in the bill right now. Is that right? What's the purpose for adding that? Because in 16-1101-93, substantial improvement, it talks about in addition to a structure other than an historic structure, but in your definition that exists in the bill as drafted, it doesn't have that.
Lynn Miller, understood. After discussions with inspections and permits, after this bill was drafted, it was collectively agreed that it would be better for the two definitions to match what is in Article 16.
Even though Article 16 is about floodplain management, erosion and sediment control, and stormwater management, not Article 17 and 18 where we normally are working with you.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Any other comments, administration? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 14.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volke.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Radvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 14 has been adopted.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 15.
Amendment number 15. This amendment requires redevelopment applicants to respond to feedback received at the pre-application meeting.
Ms. Pickard, this is your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. After review and comments with various stakeholders, we and the administration, this amendment provides compromise language to clarify that each of the community meeting comments must be responded to by the developer when they resubmit their drawing package, rather than we were toying with acknowledge or address, and we settled on response to as what we were all actually trying to achieve through that process. Motion to adopt amendment number 15.
Administration?
There's nothing else to add. Councilmember Pickard adequately and accurately described the discussion process that we went into in terms of sorting out and landing on a appropriate word choice.
Okay. Any other comments? So, Madam Secretary, did we had a motion to adopt? Did I do that? I'm getting mixed up on my amendments. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 15.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volke.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Radvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 15 has been adopted.
All right. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 16.
Amendment number 16. This amendment modifies the applicability of the bill.
That's short and sweet for a long amendment. So, Ms. Pickard, go for it.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, after this amendment eliminates some scope provisions, making commercial to commercial conversions everywhere in the county eligible for the expanded review process for redevelopment. It adds to the conditional use requirements in commercial districts while recognizing the geographic limitations on multifamily conversions that some of the council members and their constituents wanted. It's a compromise, and I think will make revitalization of underutilized or vacant commercial properties more attractive by enacting this amendment, and I urge my colleagues to adopt amendment number 16. We need a second.
Yeah, is that a motion?
I made a motion to adopt. Do
Okay.
we need a second?
Rodbean, second.
Okay. Administration?
Turn over to the ladies to my right, Jay Dempsey and Lynn Miller.
We're happy to answer any questions about the amendment. I'm not sure what you want me to say beyond what Ms.
Okay.
Councilwoman Pickard said, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Ms. Fiedler?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So think applying this amendment to the corridor on Route 2, the commercial area of Severna Park, they could take advantage of the commercial to commercial, or would that area also be exempted?
No. Anywhere that a property owner anywhere in the county where the property owner was planning to redevelop could take advantage of the expedited review process and some of the other provisions. They just wouldn't be able to use the expanded multifamily provisions that we have reserved for certain corridors in the county. So it is definitely, it expands the bill as far as incentivizing redevelopment. And to me, there is I think a goal to conserve and preserve green space, and from Plan 2040, we're looking to incentivize growth and investment in those underutilized parcels, no matter where they are in the county. This does that, but it doesn't allow the expansion into all 100% residential multifamily like we have the bill as drafted targets certain corridors for the residential redevelopment.
Okay, may I ask a follow-up? So if this were to take place anywhere in the county and commercial C3, C4, it could redevelop to the extent that residential units are already allowed in that commercial zone.
Correct, like you can now.
Okay, thank you.
You can do that now, but you wouldn't have
the expedited.
You wouldn't have an expedited process. Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Volke?
Does the administration support this amendment?
So this amendment is something that was discussed multiple times when we were first seeking to introduce the redevelopment legislation, because what it really does is it allows the Article 17, which in many ways is the development requirements. We want to ensure that when we were looking to introduce this bill, we wanted to make it as efficient as possible for these redevelopment processes to occur. I know a lot of OPZ staff, well, not a lot, but OPZ staff, this was something that we played around with, and we ultimately didn't include it in the original version of the bill, solely because we knew that redevelopment, in terms of communicating it and making sure that the public understood that while Article 17, these processes are something that the administration definitely supports. Article 18, it wouldn't apply in terms of the zoning element. And so this amendment conforms with what the administration was going to initially introduce in this bill. So we have no opposition to this. OPZ staff, this is something that OPZ staff has supported from day one.
Is there any other discussion? That was a long yes.
I'm just being very clear.
Comes down to yes. So this is just this is going to allow more commercial to commercial redevelopment. So even outside of a critical corridor that we have, if I have my, abandoned gas station, this is going to give some expedited process to redevelop and that parcel. but not for the multifamily.
Not for the multifamily, it's for the expedited review process.
So, okay. Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, if my colleagues would recall, the last meeting, we added a annual reporting mechanism, which I think is really helpful for this council and any councils beyond to find out and to understand if legislation and policies we pass are actually impactful and effective. So I'm eager to get redevelopment, and I'm not sure, and I don't think we'll know if the incentives that we have put together to encourage and attract redevelopment to our vacant and underutilized parcels, no matter where they are. I don't know that we'll know if they are effective until this passes and gets underway. So I think, and with that, if this isn't the mix, if these aren't the right ingredients, if we are still not seeing redevelopment in this county, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Especially if it is our goal to minimize greenfield development. I think this is the direction we need to take in this amendment. So I urge the support of my colleagues. Thank you.
Ms. Rabian.
Thank you. I want to double check and make sure that this amendment wouldn't supersede the sort of additional benefits that you would get for redevelopment in the policy areas that are remaining in the bill, if that makes sense.
I'll answer that one, Miller. No, it wouldn't. So basically, all of the incentives for redevelopment would apply countywide, but only those Article 18 incentives related to the additional zoning allowances would be limited to the policy areas of the bill, with the exception of those that were amended out at the last hearing.
And can I ask, this is actually not a follow-up question, but thank you for just confirming that. Just from workflow and workload, do you anticipate, we're now going to be having a lot of things where we're offering an expedited process, and expedited means we actually have to make it faster. Is that feasible with the, is that a feasible addition to the current workload? Or is it make it easier because the process is simplified?
Sure, it should not really add on to the workload unless it prompts more redevelopment projects, which we would actually be happy to see. But it's just offering a different, more streamlined process.
Ms. Fiedler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the example, Madam Chair, that you gave of the gas station, I think that's a great example. Those tend to be smaller lots. There's not a whole lot you can do with it. I'm on the fence because I like to be able to do something with those smaller lots. It's the larger commercial lots that give me a little bit of pause. So there is no minimum lot requirement. It's just any size commercial lot would apply with this amendment.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yes. And I would counter that with, I think while we all have that small corner vacant abandoned parcel that we want to see transformed, we also don't want to see large. I also have some large commercial areas that need, as I like to say, a little love to push them along. I would, one of the things I want to remind everybody is we've talked about it in this debate and as we've amended this bill, that it's born out of the Glen Burnie Sustainable Community Overlay Bill from 2020. And we've seen, I think I'm right, 3 projects, really only one of significant redevelopment from that bill. So while I'm excited to really expand our incentives of redevelopment to the county, I'm also mindful that this might not have all the incentives that we need to really see large-scale redevelopment. And we may be back here in 18 months, 2 years, 24 months, saying, because I've been at this 6 years now, and I still have the same vacant parcels. They're still there, and my constituents are saying, you keep talking about redevelopment, and it hasn't come to our community yet. So while the policy and the code is not going to be the only factors contributing to whether investment happens, the market has, the economy and other things play a role. This is what we can control. So I just want to level set here and let everybody know that this isn't radical. None of this is radical, but I urge your support, and let's see what happens. Because I'm looking to actually see transformation in parts of the county that have needed it for a long time.
Ms. Ravian.
And just to clarify, even without this amendment, redevelopment can go forward. So it's not, this isn't a matter of, putting, somehow stopping redevelopment that could already occur anyway. It just makes it a more efficient process and would move, from something that's underutilized to something better utilized in a more expedited manner.
Okay. Any other comments? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 16.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Nay.
Ms. Fiedler?
Nay.
Ms. Radbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Nay.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
4 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative. Amendment number 16 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 17.
Amendment number 17. This technical amendment adds the legislative intent to the purpose paragraph for a previously adopted amendment.
Ms. Pickard, this is your technical amendment.
Okay. Let me collect myself, and I'll get back to that right now. Let's see. I flipped my notebook. On page 1 of the amended bill in line 14, after the semicolon, we're inserting, quote unquote, adding a reporting requirement for redevelopment applications. This technical amendment adds the legislative intent to the purpose paragraph for a previously adopted amendment. Motion to adopt amendment number 17.
Rodvian, second.
Administration?
Support.
Support, okay. There we go. Is there any other discussion on this?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Pickard.
Before anybody spends too much time on it, this is a technical amendment that our administrative officer caught. There's no secret anything happening nefarious.
We gotcha. All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 17.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, 9 in the negative. Amendment number 17 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read the titles of bills number 325 and bill number 425 as amended.
Just really quick, bill number 225 as amended will be heard again on April 7th.
I'm sorry, I missed that in all my things. Yes. Bill number 225 as amended will be heard on April 7th, 2025.
So bill number 325, an ordinance concerning general development plan, Region 9 plan. Bill number 425, an ordinance concerning comprehensive zoning, Region 9.
So, Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Christina Pompa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Cindy Carrier, our Planning Administrator, Eric Ketterling, our Senior Planner, all from the Office of Planning and Zoning, and Kelly Kenny from the Office of Law, who's our Supervising County Attorney. These two bills apply to the comprehensive rezoning and region plan for Region 9. I know there's some amendments to discuss, and we're happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any discussion? Okay, we will now open the joint public hearing on Bill number 325 and Bill number 425. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received 2 pieces for Bill 325 and 1 piece for Bill 425, which have been shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay, we will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it is your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimony tool. Elizabeth Del Castillo, Peter Quirk, Julia Howes, and Phil Hager. All right.
That's enough for them. I'll give you mine. That's 7. That should be 7. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Del Castillo.
Okay. Hey, thanks. Thanks for letting me have an opportunity to speak. My name is Elizabeth Del Castillo. I am the treasurer at South River Park Community, which is across the creek from this project. And I've spoken before. I'm also a member of the Arundel Bird Club and also Arundel Ham Radio Club. And this is kind of a summary of things I've spoken in the past. We've just finished a refurbishing of our historic beach with the help of the county, and we've got sand and a place for the kids to play. And now we really don't want to have a big marina activity thing across the creek because all of that, whatever they're dumping and stuff, is going to come straight into our beach. We're a historic beach from the 20s. Also, we don't want a lot of, intense development because there's some wildlife and there's also an RCA zone there, and they need the trees, they need the quiet. This bird, this saw-whet owl, is very hard to find. The bird club went bananas when they saw this picture. They like really old trees, and if we start cutting stuff down, you're not going to see him anymore. Also, this whole area is R1, and to be adding marina and industrial stuff in here, it doesn't fit. And this is a neighborhood. This is not an industrial complex. And then also, if you start doing this zoning stuff, you're going to start they're going to start assembling land, and you're going to have a bigger mess on your hands. Also, I also had a question on page 9, I think it's page 8. And I'm saying, is this really the best use of the property? I mean, the property taxes are not high with marinas, and I don't understand what the county gets off of it because this marina will not be allowing for marina employment and things like that. 5861 Leland has been advertised as a marina, as you can see, and they've been doing a lot of renting of the house. It's kind of like a flop house sometimes. It's a 1-bedroom, then it's a 2-bedroom, then it's a 3-bedroom, but they are offering it for rent. Then they are listed as a marina, but 25 Leland has never been listed as a marina. It's described as a charming waterfront beach cottage.
Thank you, Ms. Del Castillo.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Mr. Quirk.
Yes, good evening. Peter Quirk, 230 Riverside Road, Edgewater. We've testified before that our community of South River Park on Warehouse Creek is very concerned about the impact that additional maritime use would have on the creek. And as Ms. Del Castillo said, there are a number of very specific effects that would affect particularly our community beach. We basically feel that it is incompatible with the quiet residential character of the communities on Warehouse Creek, and also the wooded residential, it's actually R1 Leland Peninsula on which the marinas would be located. They would create an inequitable amount of commercial maritime zoning on a very small creek when all of the other creeks around us don't have any commercial maritime use at all. So we feel that this is highly inequitable. As to the other possible justifications, other than the existing marina at 25 Leland, which we found is not actually an existing marina. It doesn't leave a trace of marina use in any of the on-site online sites. There are only about 40 private slips on Warehouse Creek, and the combination of the two maritime uses would add another 40. So this is a highly concentrated bottom paint effluents. There are no pump outs, and we feel that this would be very deleterious, particularly to the community beach. We therefore support the amendments 1 and 4 that are before the council this evening and hope that you will vote for them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Julia House. Ms. House.
Good evening. My name is Julia Howes, and I'm a homeowner at 5624 Shadyside Road in Churchton. I am here on behalf of myself and my family only, not representing any position I hold either volunteer or professionally. I learned about the rezoning request for the property at 5610 Shadyside Road last summer. It was a continuance of their existing property, which is a shopping center containing our local grocery store, hardware store, and a dental office. This property surrounds my house. This property was formerly an airstrip that has unfortunately not been in service for at least 25 years. I've watched and stayed informed during the Region 9 committee meetings where it seemed that the committee was against the rezoning and they voted to not favor this rezoning. I am fortunate that Councilwoman Ledbetter has submitted this amendment with only the portion closest to the road, next to our home, and not the piece that runs behind our home. This piece is proposing to become commercial so they can create an event venue and restaurant area. They plan to appeal to families with affordable dining options and have promised to allow dogs at the venue with places to run without a leash. Additionally, they want to offer rental space, games, activities based on the time of year and various seasons and holidays. This sounds like a great business plan for our small community. A point to note is that this property is at the beginning of the Shadyside Peninsula, which doesn't add to the traffic on the peninsula, but it could still impact the traffic and life. If an accident occurs or a larger community event was planned, this could have an impact on the traffic being able to get on or off the peninsula. There are roughly 5,000 people that reside in Shadyside, along with a fire department, Anne Arundel County Health Department, Anne Arundel County Park, urgent care facility, primary and behavioral health clinic, an elementary school, child care facilities, churches, convenience stores, restaurants, and many local businesses. Last year, there was a fatal accident close to the proposed site, and the roads were closed from 11 a.m. to almost 8 p.m. In 2023, there was an accident where the road was shut down from approximately 1 o'clock in the afternoon until 2 a.m. I don't disagree that the business should have the opportunity to open their event venue by rezoning from residential to commercial. I just want the council, along with planning and zoning, to be aware of the concerns regarding the new construction in our small community, especially those on the peninsula. I look forward to continuing our neighborhood relationship with Amy's Food Chain and seeing the plans for the event venue as they develop. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. House. Mr. Hager.
Good evening, Madam Chair and members of the council. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. Phil Hager from Hager Land Use. These processes are long and arduous, and I think it would be appropriate if I took just a quick moment to recognize some of the many people who are responsible for getting us to the point where we are right now. Starting with the SAC, the Planning Advisory Board, and now the council and their council staff. I particularly think it's important to recognize the efforts of the staff people who served on the Region 9 team, lead planner Eric Ketterling, Jessica Levy, and of course Christina Pompa and Cindy Carrier, plus a whole host of other folks from the long-range planning section. OPZ leadership did something a little bit different with the second round of plans. I'm talking about Region 9, 1, and 3. One of these was to have zoning administration staff at the SAC meetings. This was very helpful to the process and, from my perspective, a positive investment of staff time. Throughout the long process, it's been clear that staff have been trying to provide a valuable public service through a transparent process in a more or less thankless environment where the messenger was frequently the one that was getting shot. Thank you at this time seems insufficient, but all the same, I do want to thank you all. I also want to take this moment to thank Councilwoman Ledbetter for introducing the amendment on the property at 5610 Shadyside Road in Churchton. This is CZR9 CHT 0600. This amendment will facilitate some much needed opportunities for community amenities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hager. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on bills number 325 and 425? Okay. The joint public hearing on bill number 325 and 425 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill number 325 and 425 as amended.
Bill number 325, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan Region 9 Plan. Bill number 425, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning Region 9.
Okay, so just to let everyone know, but there's going to be some back and forth between 325 and 425 in order to keep the amendments about the same properties together. There are 4 amendments to bill number 325 and 7 amendments to bill number 425. Madam Secretary, for the upcoming amendments requiring signs for at least 10 days before this legislative session, were signs posted on the subject property and was notice of the proposed change of zoning posted to the County Council website?
Yes, Madam Chair, 2 properties required signs, and they have met all requirements.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1 to bill number 325.
Amendment number 1 to Bill 325. This amendment changes the planned land use for the property known as Parcel 159 on Tax Map 56, located at 25 Leland Road, Edgewater, from maritime to low-density residential.
Ms. Ledbetter, this is your amendment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As my colleagues are aware from being sitting in the same council meetings the past month or so, or I think it's 2 months now, we have had testimony from the community, the neighboring communities around the 2 parcels on Leland Road. The legislation as presented recommended a change from R1 to MA1B for 2 different parcels. One has an existing non-conforming use, and this zoning change to MA1B is not going to actually be a significant change as far as the use that is occurring. The other, which is 25 Leland Road, does not have an existing non-conforming use. That's the difference between the 2 of them. And after hearing the community's concerns, the size of Warehouse Creek, the environmental implications, I believe that it's prudent to, for 25 Leland, retain the R1 zoning. And that is what this amendment does. Moves it from the recommended MA1B, and the legislation takes it back to R1. Motion to adopt amendment number 1.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Is there any discussion from the council? Administration?
Eric Ketterling, Senior Planner. The one thing I'd like to mention is that this is a relatively new property owner. The property owner applied during the preliminary review period in the summertime. Initially, staff, SAC, and PAB all agreed and recommended MA1B for the site. However, as we've heard, there are concerns within the community, and given that OPZ does not object to the amendment.
Okay. All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1 to bill number 325.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 to Bill 325 has been adopted.
All right, Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 4 to bill number 425.
Amendment number 4. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 159 on Tax Map 56, located at 25 Leland Road, Edgewater, from MA1B Neighborhood Marina to R1 Residential.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the corresponding amendment to the previous that updates the land use to match. Motion to adopt.
All right, is there any discussion? Administration?
Same comments as before.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 4 to bill number 425.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 4 to Bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2 to bill number 325.
Amendment number 2. This amendment changes the planned land use for a portion of a private right-of-way near the property known as Parcel 434 on Tax Map 69, 4806 Riverside Drive, Galesville, from low-density residential to maritime.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a right-of-way that provides access to the West River Sailing Club. Half of the right-of-way is already zoned MA3. We're going to get to its corresponding amendment next. And so what this is going to, these coupled together will allow us to rezone the entire right-of-way MA3. Motion to adopt.
Okay. The one discussion I'll see, looking through your amendments, Ms. Ledbetter, there's a lot of little patches of property that need to be cleaned up and fixed on, when we attach on all of these. Administration.
Yeah, I think Ms. Ledbetter stated a lot. Again, this is a private right-of-way. OPZ does not object to the amendment.
Okay. All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 2 to bill number 325.
Ms. Pickard. Aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler. Aye. Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 to bill 325 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 5 to bill number 425.
Amendment number 5. This amendment changes the zoning of a portion of a private right-of-way near the property known as parcel 434 on tax map 69, 4806 Riverside Drive, Galesville, from R2 residential to MA3 Yacht Club.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the corresponding amendment to the previous for the same right-of-way.
Any
Motion
discussion?
to adopt.
Oh, do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? Administration?
Same as before, no objection.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 5 to bill number 425.
Ms. Pickard. Aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler. Aye. Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 5 to bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 3 to bill number 325.
Amendment number 3. This amendment changes the planned land use for a portion of the property known as parcel 409 on tax map 69 located at 1000 Main Street, Galesville, from low-density residential to maritime.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a property, it's a part of a larger parcel that has been approved for subdivision. West River Sailing Club is planning to purchase this particular parcel that we're rezoning tonight, and they're going to add it to their adjacent MA3 parcels. Amendment number 3 changes the underlying land use to support that zoning change, so low-density residential to maritime. And I did do some due diligence on this and spoke to members of the community. There is general knowledge in Galesville that this is supported, and the community is on board, and the immediate neighbors also were very comfortable with this. So motion to adopt.
Any comments? Administration?
The only thing I'd like to add would be that this property is currently part of the application ending in GSV 0003, currently being recommended for slightly more commercial. As Ms. Ledbetter stated, it is currently in a subdivision process, and essentially Lot 3 is being recommended for the MA3 zoning, and if the subdivision process and zoning were both to be approved, this would not have a split zoning if moving forward. So OPZ supports the amendment.
Okay. All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 5 to bill 425.
We are on amendment number 3 to bill number 325.
Oh, I'm sorry. I jumped ahead to the next one on my list. Actually on my paper it says, okay, here we go. Please read amendment number 3 to bill number 325.
We will call the roll on this if that's okay.
Yes,
with you.
please
Okay.
call the roll. You know, too many amendments.
Ms. Pickard. Aye. Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 3 to bill number 325 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 6 to bill number 425.
Amendment number 6. This amendment changes the zoning of a portion of the property known as parcel 409 on tax map 69 located at 1000 Main Street, Galesville, from R2 residential to MA3 Yacht Club in its entirety.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is the corresponding amendment to the previous that will give this Lot 3, the portion of this parcel, the MA3 zoning that will be most useful for West River Sailing Club once the subdivision process is complete.
Okay.
Motion to adopt.
Any discussion? Administration?
OPZ supports.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 6 to bill number 425.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 6 to bill number 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 4 to bill number 325.
Amendment number 4. This amendment changes the planned land use for the property known as Parcel 14, Lot 1 on Tax Map 74, located at 5610 Shadyside Road, Churchton, from low-density residential to a split of low-density residential and commercial.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This amendment was a result of the owners originally were notified that this section of open space was originally recommended for a consistency change. It did not make it into the final legislation, and the owners would like to see it come to fruition, and so that is what this amendment accomplishes. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Any questions? Any discussion? Administration?
Can you confirm the address on this amendment?
5610 Shadyside Road, Churchton.
Apologies, I had, somehow my papers were out of order.
Okay.
That's my fault. Thank you, administration.
There's a lot of these, so yes.
No, different comments, yeah.
Okay,
Retract
different
those.
comments, okay.
Retract those, yeah. No, yeah, that would not make sense at all. No, sorry, things were out of order in my stack. I apologize. All right, so we are Amendment 4 to Bill 325?
Correct.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Whew. Okay, so this one.
Hold on just a minute. Do we need to rescind the previous motion? Yes. How do we do? What do we need to do there? Withdraw? Just
Yep, withdraw motion.
Withdraw the second.
Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Apologies, I was moving through my stack. So amendment number 4 to bill number 325 for 5610 Shadyside Road in Churchton. This updates the land use from low-density residential to a split zone of low-density residential and commercial in support of the paired amendment that will be coming up next. Motion to adopt.
All right. Administration?
Yeah, so we've heard some testimony tonight about this property. Initially, staff had recommended what was the amendment in front of you, a split between commercial and residential. However, the SAC could not reach a consensus on this, and the PAB recommended to maintain the entire property as residential and R1 zoning. While at different outreach events, staff heard multiple concerns about the commercial in the area, and regarding the other areas vacant, underutilized commercial sites. So staff initially updated the recommendation for an entirety of R1 and residential land use for the zoning. That being said, different community events, Councilwoman Ledbetter hosted, the applicant and the owner of the property was there discussing his plans, and it seems like there's a path forward. So OPZ does not object to the amendment.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 4 to bill number 325.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 4 to bill 325 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read Amendment Number 7 to Bill Number 425.
Amendment number 7. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 14, Lot 1 on Tax Map 74, located at 5610 Shadyside Road, Churchton, from R1 residential to a split of R1 residential and C3 commercial office.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So I was very intentional in what I agreed to present tonight as an amendment for this particular parcel. I think it's really important, and the reason why I selected just the front portion of this parcel to be commercial is to make sure that the development that happens is appropriate to the scale of the character of the community that it is in, and by limiting the size of the parcel, also limiting that scope as well. But motion to adopt.
Any discussion? Administration?
Same as before.
Okay, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 7 to Bill Number 425.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 7 to Bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read Amendment Number 8 to Bill Number 425.
Amendment number 8. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 79 on Tax Map 60, located at 3807 Pine Drive, Edgewater, from a split of R2 residential and OS open space to R2 residential.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Knew we'd get to this one. This is one I accidentally read earlier. This was originally a proposed consistency change. The owners put in an application for an amendment because while the consistency change was not included in the legislation, they would still like to see the consistency change move forward. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Second.
Okay. I have to say that this is the funkiest looking shaped parcel I've ever seen. I mean, how did that ever get platted that way? It's very interesting. So any...
I was just going to say, I think it makes sense if you look at where the water comes into the property.
So I can't tell that from on here. But yeah, that's crazy. So, administration, do you have any comment on this one?
Yeah, this is similar to the previous meeting amendments regarding the open space. OPZ supports this amendment.
Okay. All right. No further discussion. Madam Secretary, please please call the roll on Amendment Number 8 to Bill Number 425.
Ms. Pickard? Aye. Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 8 to Bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read Amendment Number 9 to Bill Number 425.
Amendment number 9. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 240, Lot 5 on Tax Map 69, located at 847 Shady Oaks Drive, West River, from MA2 Light Commercial Marina to R2 Residential.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This, while not a typo, was an inadvertent inclusion, if you will. There was an application for an adjacent property that included part of Lot 5. That property was recommended for the MA2 in the legislation. Inadvertently, all of Lot 5 was also recommended for MA2. That was not the intent on the portion of Lot 5 that this amendment applies to. There is a home, it's a residential use, not appropriate to, and they're not looking, the owners do not want to be MA2. So this is to fix that inadvertent error that was somewhat a reflection of zoning maps and geocortexes being misaligned. So motion to adopt.
All right. Okay, any discussion? Administration?
Ms. Ledbetter stated it perfectly. This essentially will clean up and make the maps show the appropriate lot lines for this zoning. This piece of property will be able to maintain the residentially zoned portion while not impacting the MA2 recommendation for the neighboring marina. OPZ supports this amendment.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 9 to Bill Number 425.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment Number 9 to Bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please call Amendment Number 10 to Bill Number 425.
Amendment Number 10. This amendment changes the zoning of a portion of the property known as Parcel 143, Lot 3R on Tax Map 81, located at 249 Hidden Valley Road, Tracy's Landing, from OS Open Space to RA Rural Agricultural.
This is administration amendment.
Eric Hedling with the Office of Planning and Zoning. So early on in the process, the property owner of this site reached out and showed us that the parcel lines for the approximate 8.7 acre property were incorrect. He also mentioned the OS on his site was incorrect and should be removed. He provided staff with a plat showing this information. Staff initially removed the open space on his site and revised the property lines. However, in late 2024, when staff reanalyzed the OS throughout all of Region 9, the data used to analyze did not reflect the updated parcel boundary. The data showed the new data, or the reanalyzation of the data showed that the property had more than 20% of open space with environmental features. So we recommended maintaining the current split zoning. The current OS shown on the map today is within the correct boundary and is very, very small. It's about 0.02 acres of open space. Essentially, this would remove that 0.02 open space on this site. That is an error. Staff agrees that the OS is incorrect, and the OS should be, and that the OS reflected on the maps is incorrect. So staff recommend or is in favor of this amendment.
Do I have a motion to adopt?
So moved.
Second.
So, Ms. Ledbetter, do you agree with switching this 0.02 acres?
I support OPZ's amendment.
Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment Number 10 to Bill Number 425.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment Number 10 to Bill 425 has been adopted.
Madam Chair, before
Yes,
we move on, may I take a moment to make a couple comments? I just wanted to take the opportunity tonight. I've received, while we haven't heard from anyone in chambers tonight, I've received some inquiries via phone and email about a particular zoning recommendation that's included in the bill for 1014 East Benning Road. And I thought that this would be a good opportunity, just for the record, if OPZ wanted to take a minute, if the administration wanted to take a minute to talk about why the recommendation in the legislation is what it is, and which also explains why I am also supporting said recommendation.
Eric Keller with the Office of Planning and Zoning. So initially, this site is currently today split zoned, I believe, W2 and R2. R2 closest to the Benning Road, while the W2 is at the back of the property. The W2 currently is where the existing industrial use and business is located. Currently today, to access that portion of property, you have to drive through the driveway located on the R2 zoning. Initially, staff had recommended to maintain the split zoning, mostly due to the fact that we thought the property, the W2 portion of the property, had access off another road in the back. That information was incorrect and presented to us later on in the process. Staff has since revised the recommendation to make the entire property W2 to be consistent. It also helps with the fact that in order to access an industrial zone property, it's my understanding you cannot access industrial zone property through residentially zoned property. So this would allow for that to be a non-issue.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Yep, thank you very much. And my understanding is that if the parcel that is being recommended to be zoned to W2 is not zone W2, in effect, we're cutting off access to a business that's been there for quite some time in continuous operation, and that would be inappropriate.
Everybody's looking at me, so I'll answer that. Kelly County Supervising County Attorney. Yes, that is correct. As Mr. Ketterling said, the access is part of the use, and so the use is a W2 zoned use. It's an industrial type use. So legally, that access cannot go through that R2 portion of the property, which abuts the road. So I support what OPZ is doing because it's actually making that use legal and not setting up the owner to have a potential illegal use on that property.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bill number 325 as amended and Bill number 425 as amended will be heard again on April 7th, 2025. Now on to the next. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of Bill number 925 and Bill number 1025 as amended.
Bill number 925, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan, Region 1 Plan. Bill number 1025, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning, Region 1.
Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Christina Pumpa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Cindy Carrier, our Planning Administrator, and Mark Wildong, our Senior Planner, all from the Office of Planning and Zoning, and Kelly Kenny, our Supervising County Attorney from the Office of Law. These two bills are for the General Development Plan, Region Plan, and Comprehensive Rezoning for Region 1, which is North County communities. Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Any questions? All right. So we will now open the joint public hearing on Bill number 925 and Bill number 1025. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair, we received 2 pieces for Bill 925 and 2 pieces for Bill 1025, which have been shared to the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimony tool. Phil Hager. Mr. Hager? You are the only one signed up ahead of time.
Well, let it not be said that I ever missed an opportunity to speak, but I actually was registered for Region 3.
So
I would, in the interest of time, I'm going to say me too. So thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else here who wishes to speak on bills number 925 or 1025? Yes, sir. Come on up. Go ahead.
Good evening. Madam Chair, County Council members. My name is Ken Doan. I live at 329 Ferndale Road. I've lived on Ferndale Road for 66 years. I'm here to speak in opposition to zoning changes CZR1 FND for Ferndale 0002 and CZR1 FND for Ferndale 0300. These revisions will change zoning from SB to C1. The community believes this adversely changed the appearance of our community. Small business zoning is created to preserve the appearance of the neighborhood which it is zoned. We believe changing the zoning to C1 will lower the standards set by SB zoning. This intersection, Aviation and Ferndale Road, is one of the gateways to our community. Please help keep this gateway free of any eyesores and clutter. And I guess I'm a little out of motion here. I'll have to get with my representative, Mr. Smith, to perhaps file an amendment to have these zonings removed from 1025. That sounds like what I need to do. That's all.
Yes, sir.
I apologize for I'm too late in the game because of this. I'm ignorant to the process. I'm the owner of the said property that Mr. Ken is talking about. I'm Rob Busick. I own Best Pro LLC. I purchased the property from Dunkin' Donuts February 14th, 2021 with the purpose of putting my business there. It is zoned SB. I cleared up the lot first month. If you're familiar with the property on Aviation, I'm sure you've all been by it. It was heavily weeded, and I took down all the weeds and I cleaned up the property on Ferndale Road and Aviation. It's a gray building. It stands by itself. I've been wanting to put my business there. However, Mr. Ken called up and complained about permitting after I did such work and after he thanked me for cleaning up the area. The community loves me, all right? I'm a member of the Ferndale Community Club, okay? I totally disagree with Mr. Ken. He's the only opponent to this because he's my direct neighbor. He used to clean up the property, and I'm looking to develop the property. I'm a business owner. I now have been subject to penalties and fines. I have to pay $30,000 just to get an engineer to tell me that, oh yeah, you just need to plant some trees. I was planning on planting trees too, making it all pretty. But $30,000 it's going to cost me to do this. I want now, you know what? Now I should just go for C4 zoning. I should be C4 because my neighbors are C4 and everyone around me is C4. I want to develop the building professionally, neat. I'm a business owner. My main customers are in Ferndale. Okay, I do not want to mess, and I grew up in that area. I went to North County High School. All right, I'm a business owner. I have a story to be told. bestpro.com, bestprocompany.com.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
How you doing? Thanks for allowing me to speak. This is my father. I also own Best Pro LLC. Again, just to reiterate, we own the property at 7048 Aviation, which is a property that is currently up for rezoning to C1. Approved for C1. But yeah, just to again reiterate what Rob said. We are a small business, okay? We do work for the community. If you look at the transformation from the property that once stood there, it was abandoned, had rats. We've talked to all the neighbors about the transformation. We've kind of been stuck in terms of moving to the next step of putting our actual business there. Because of the grading permit, which is $30,000 is a lot, is a financial burden. And we've been working on collecting that, the funds to apply for the necessary grading permit and then further develop that property into a useful asset for the entire community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
May we have your name for the record?
Yes, my name is Robert Busick III.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. The joint public hearing on bills number 925 and 1025 is now closed. You can go back to your seats. Administration, come on back up.
Madam Chair, as they're coming back up,
Pardon?
and as they're coming back up, can I make a comment?
Yes, yes.
Just for the council's knowledge, I was just made aware of some of these issues. I knew about the Dunkin' Donuts being sold. The change is a administrative change that's in the bill. Wasn't an amendment that we had submitted yet, but I'll certainly communicate with the parties who are involved and see what we can come to. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So joint public hearing on bills 925 and 1025 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bill numbers 925 and 1025 as amended.
Bill number 925, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan, Region 1 Plan. Bill number 1025, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning, Region 1.
Okay, again, that's a previous discussion. We will have some back and forth between the bills in order to keep amendments about the same properties together. There is one amendment to bill number 925 and 4 amendments to bill number 1025. Madam Secretary, for the upcoming amendments requiring signs for at least 10 days before this legislative session, were signs posted on the subject property and was notice of the proposed change of zoning posted to the County Council website?
Yes, Madam Chair, this pertains to 2 properties which have met both requirements.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2 to bill number 1025.
Amendment number 2. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as Parcel 242, Lot 3 on Tax Map 1, located at 196 Nursery Road, Linthicum, from a split of R5 residential and OS open space to R5 residential.
Mr. Smith, this is your amendment.
This amendment is essentially allowing the use of R5 for the totality of the land. It's consistent with other parcels that are adjacent to it. and the homeowner is aware and will support of this amendment. So motion to adopt.
Second.
So any discussion? Anything for administration?
OPZ supports.
Okay. All right. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 2 to bill number 1025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 to Bill 1025 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 3 to bill number 1025.
Amendment number 3. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as parcel 262 on tax map 4 and parcel 169 on tax map 3, located at 781 and 783 Elk Ridge Landing Road, Linthicum, from W1 Industrial Park to W2 Light Industrial.
Mr. Smith?
Located at the end of the runway for BWI Airport. The similar uses around it are W1-like uses, and so it's very consistent with what is in, everything around it is W1. This is just a request for W2, but considering it's right at the end of a runway, it's very appropriate. I don't think there's going to be any issues with community issues when it comes to this property. The NSA campus is a Fanex is adjacent to it. There's probably a McDonald's that's over there as well. But motion to adopt.
Second.
So you don't think anybody wants to build a single-family home at the end of the runway?
Well, it's already W1. It just is going to W2.
No, I'm just kidding. You don't want to change it to residential
True.
and put some houses there? I'm sure that'd be hot.
Well, that's going to
property.
come up. That is a discussion. There is a homeowner whose house is or property is in the flight path, and that might come up as
Nice
spend
to
some
have
conversations on that.
So, administration.
Mark Wildonger, Office Planning and Zoning. OPZ offers no objection.
Okay. So, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 3 to bill number 1025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 3 to Bill 1025 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1 to bill number 925.
Amendment number 1. This amendment changes the planned land use for the property known as parcel 247 on tax map 5, located at no number Fairfax Avenue, Baltimore, from medium-density residential to industrial.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this amendment and the corresponding one that we'll hear afterwards is essentially taking a parcel of land that is adjacent. It is on the city line. It's in Brooklyn Park, and the landowner is requesting the change. It is currently zoned R10. You'll see that, and the desire to go to W2. The reason I'm even extremely supportive of this, if you did not know, this particular parcel is, if you're familiar with the Colonial Pipeline, it runs literally right parallel to it. Colonial Pipeline is the largest sort of oil-moving platform that goes from the Gulf Coast all the way up to New York. We have a Baltimore extension that taps into that. That line is right here on this property. And so I am very supportive of trying to maintain that. What the property owner would like to put there is, one, keep a buffer to the neighborhood that's right there, and then add a warehouse, from what I understand. And so it's going to keep the use down, specifically because I would certainly like to maintain some sort of distance from that asset that is buried underneath that property. So, motion to adopt.
Second.
Okay. Any other discussion? Administration.
Mark Wildonger, Office Planning and Zoning. OPZ supports the change.
All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1 to bill number 925.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 to Bill 925 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 4 to bill number 1025.
Amendment number 4. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as parcel 247 on tax map 5, located at no number Fairfax Avenue, Baltimore, from R10 residential to W2 light industrial.
Mr. Smith.
Same comments as the last amendment. Motion to adopt.
Rodvian, second.
Any discussion? Administration?
Mark Wildonger, Office Planning and Zoning, OPZ supports.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 4 to bill number 1025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodbian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 4 to bill 1025 has been adopted.
Bill number 925 is amended and 1025 is amended will be heard again on April 7th, 2025. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1125 as amended and Bill number 1225 as amended.
Bill number 1125, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan Region 3 Plan. Bill number 1225, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning Region 3.
Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Christina Pompa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Cindy Carrier, our Planning Administrator, and Patrick Hughes, our Senior Planner for Region 3, along with Kelly Kenny, our Supervising County Attorney. Region 3 covers communities of Glen Burnie, Severn, and a portion of Millersville, and these two bills are the region plan and comprehensive rezonings for that region.
Okay.
Happy to answer any questions.
All right. Mr. Smith?
I'm sorry, I can't find my, the amendment.
Oh, no, I'm just asking if you had discussion.
Oh.
We haven't done the amendments yet. Oh, okay. We're good. Okay. We will now open the joint public hearing on bills number 1125 and bill number 1225. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When I call your name, please come up to the table and have a seat. When it's your turn, state your name and address for the record. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. Please listen for the buzzer and respect the 2-minute time limit as others are signed up to speak. If you have more than 2 minutes to share, I'm going to ask you to submit your additional thoughts as early as tomorrow using our online testimony tool. We had one person sign up ahead of time, Jay Hudson. Is there anyone else who wishes to speak on bill number 1125 or 1225? You may also come up at this time. Mr. Hudson?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening. My name is Jay Hudson, and I am here tonight on behalf of Evergreen Jeans Garden Center. We are located at 401 Crane Highway South in Glen Burnie. I would like to thank the council for hearing me this evening. Evergreen Jeans has been family-owned and operated for over 70 years. We employ approximately 20 employees each year, and we support the community and local schools with their various projects and green space programs. I appreciate your consideration on the positive impact this will have on our business and the community. Thank you, Councilwoman Pickard, for introducing this amendment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Hager?
Honest to goodness, I can read. I'm not sure I don't need some work with my numbers. If I signed up for Region 1 instead of 3, my apologies. I wanted to take a moment to reiterate a couple of comments from my last testimony. These are very difficult and long processes. Between the staff, the SAC, and the PAB, and now with council and council staff, we're looking at thousands and thousands of hours literally being invested in these processes for the benefit of the residents of the county. And it's really appropriate that we take just a quick moment and thank all those folks. I did want to especially recognize Patrick Hughes, Desiree Williams, and Andrew Lazara, who were the primary staff people who developed this plan. And of course, under the leadership of Cindy Carrier and Christina Pompa and all the other members of Long Range Planning. No process is perfect, but the OPZ staff have worked diligently to make it an effective and comprehensive process. And the outcome, I think you all agree, is a reflection of that. I want to thank Councilwoman Pickard for introducing the amendment on the property at 401 Crane Highway in Glen Burnie. As was noted, this is the location of Evergreen Jeans. The amendment will allow a commercial fixture of Glen Burnie, literally decades, to continue to operate at this location, and it recognizes the use that has long been in existence at that location with the appropriate zoning district. I urge your support. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. The joint public hearing on bills number 1125 and 1225 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of bills number 1125 and 1225.
Bill number 1125, an ordinance concerning General Development Plan Region 3 Plan. Bill number 1225, an ordinance concerning Comprehensive Zoning Region 3.
Okay, once again, there will be some back and forth between bills in order to keep amendments about the same properties together. Madam Secretary, for the upcoming amendments requiring signs for at least 10 days before this legislative session, were signs posted on the subject property and was notice of the proposed change of zoning posted to the County Council website?
Madam Chair, we have one property who has not turned in their sign certification, so we will not be moving forward with amendment number 5 tonight, so we can go ahead and start with amendment number 6.
Okay, thank you. All right, Madam Secretary, please, there are 2 amendments for Bill number 1225. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 6 to Bill number 1225.
Amendment number 6. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as parcel 45, lots 1 and 2, and parts of lots 3 and 4, parcel 48, part of lot 4, and parcel 47, part of lot 3 on tax map 91, located at 401 Crane Highway South and 11 and 4th Avenue Southeast, Glen Burnie, from C2 Commercial Office to C4 Highway Commercial.
All right, Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For my colleagues, as we heard in public testimony in our public hearing tonight, this amendment is related to 401 Crane Highway South. The property is a legacy family small business, Evergreen Jeans, a landscaping and garden center in Glen Burnie. I can personally attest to their excellent involvement in the community. I know I have worked with them for about a decade. Seems like a long time ago now. My children have picked their pumpkins, their Christmas trees, and their pansies for the last 10 or 12 years. Evergreen Jeans has been in non-conforming use and in existing zoning C2 due to the outside storage and sales on the property. This amendment changes the zoning to C4 to bring them into non-conforming use, and I would certainly urge my colleagues to support this amendment. Motion to adopt amendment number 6.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Administration?
Patrick Hughes, Office of Planning and Zoning. I think the Councilwoman summarized it very well. We don't have any objection to this.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 6 to Bill number 1225.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodbian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 6 to Bill number 1225 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please
Madam
read.
Chair, if
yes.
I may just take a moment of personal privilege, I want to thank Mr. Hudson for spending all of his evening here for this one amendment. I knew it would pass, but I do want to thank you for all your work with our local public schools and the Glen Burnie Town Center. So thank you for your being a stellar small business in the Glen Burnie area.
So, Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 7 to Bill number 1225.
Amendment number 7. This amendment changes the zoning of the property known as parcels 256 and 149 on tax map 10, located at 7462 and 7464 Furnace Branch Road East, Glen Burnie, from C3 General Commercial to C4 Highway Commercial.
Ms. Pickard.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Amendment number 7 is, these are commercial properties that are currently zoned C3 and house an auto repair and trucking business. This amendment will grant the business their requested C4 designation. While the legislation as submitted to the council retains the existing C3 zoning, the Region 3 SAC did recommend granting the C4 zoning. The property owner has testified that both lots are non-conforming currently, and there has been a car lot on this property since the 1970s. Both parcels are sandwiched between State Route 10 and Route 270 East Furnace Branch. This immediate area between these two major roadways is currently a mixture of C4 and C3 properties. Urge my colleagues' support. Motion to adopt amendment number 7.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? Administration?
Patrick Hughes, Office of Planning and Zoning. I, again, don't have much to add to that. So, we offer no objection.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 7 to Bill number 1225.
Ms. Pickard.
Aye.
Mr. Volkey.
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler.
Aye.
Ms. Rodbian.
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter.
Aye.
Mr. Smith.
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer.
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 7 to Bill 1225 has been adopted.
May I have a motion to hold the vote on Bill number 1125 as amended until April 7th, 2025?
So moved, Rod.
Do I have a second? Somebody?
Second.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on the motion to hold the vote on Bill number 1125 as amended until April 7th, 2025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to hold the vote to Bill number 1125 as amended until April 7th has passed.
Bill number 1225 as amended will be heard again on April 7th, 2025. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1325 as amended.
Bill number 1325, an ordinance concerning zoning, commercial and industrial districts, uses animal hospitals and veterinary clinics.
Ms. Fiedler, this is your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've discussed this legislation at length in previous meetings, trying to address property in my district that was rezoned during Region 4, but also give flexibility with veterinary clinics and animal hospitals with regards to their overnight stays. And I will offer an amendment at the appropriate time.
Okay. Administration.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Kelly Kenny, our supervising county attorney, and Lynn Miller, our assistant planning and zoning officer. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any discussion? Ms. Pickard?
Oh.
Okay. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 1325. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 1325? Okay. The public hearing on Bill number 1325 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1325 as amended.
Bill number 1325, an ordinance concerning zoning, commercial and industrial districts, uses animal hospitals and veterinary clinics.
There are 2 amendments. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2.
Amendment number 2. This amendment adds a definition for enclosed pens or enclosed runs.
Ms. Fiedler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The legislation does leave in emergency veterinary care with overnight stays that may utilize outdoor areas, but are not necessarily runs or pens that would be used in overnight stay, not related to medical care. So I felt it was necessary to give a definition to exactly what an enclosed pen or run was to differentiate between the two. Motion to adopt.
Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Administration?
We're comfortable with this amendment.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 2.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Radvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 to Bill 1325 has been adopted.
Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 3.
Amendment number 3. This amendment removes references to coops and fowl, adds references to enclosed pens, and clarifies all structures, enclosed pens, or enclosed runs for the housing or shelter of animals to be located at least 50 feet from residentially zoned property.
Ms. Fiedler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The language in the bill actually came out of earlier discussions before the bill was introduced about putting in some parameters as far as distances for runs or pens. Coops was carried over to, I think, probably from a residential section of the code. If you think of a veterinary hospital or animal clinic, I don't know of any that have outside coops for birds of any kind. They really only take out dogs that I know of. So I have removed all references to coops as the summary so eloquently describes. Motion to adopt.
Radvian, second.
Okay. So I want to state that when I met with the scouts beforehand, I told them that we had recently had a pig bill that was more interesting than some of the land use things we have, but we didn't have anything like that tonight. But I should have told them they could stay for the bill to talk about dog runs and chicken coops. So, any other discussion? Administration.
We're comfortable with this amendment as well.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 3.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 3 has been adopted.
Bill number 1325, as amended, will be heard on April 7th, 2025. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1425.
Bill number 1425, an ordinance concerning subdivision and development, archaeological resources.
Mr. Volkey, this is your bill.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So we've talked about this bill quite extensively at work sessions and at prior meetings. I won't add a lot more other than to say that as I've pitched previously and explained this bill, I believe it brings some balance to the code in terms of how we handle these types of resources when they come up in development applications. So with that, at the appropriate time, I'll move a couple of amendments. I appreciate the Office of Planning and Zoning and the administration working with me on the development of those amendments, and we continue to have conversations about the appropriate path forward to continue working on this bill to get it in a place where the administration can hopefully support it. So with that, look forward to the amendments.
Administration?
Thank you, Madam Chair. With me, Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I have Christina Pompa, our Deputy Planning and Zoning Officer, Darian Bever-Rungan, our Acting Planning Administrator for Cultural Resources, and Kelly Kenny, our Supervising County Attorney. I know we've expressed some concerns with this bill as it was drafted, and we've discussed it with some of you. I appreciate the sponsor's willingness to engage in dialogue, and I know we do have a couple of amendments that the administration has requested to be introduced that that we're both in agreement on, and we're going to continue the conversation. We're happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All right. The public hearing was closed at the last meeting on March 3rd, 2025, so we can roll right into amendments. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 1.
Amendment number 1. This amendment provides that all archaeological work shall comply with the standards and guidelines for archaeological investigations in Maryland.
Okay. May I have a motion to adopt? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Administration, you want to say anything? This is your amendment?
I was going to say that does exactly what it says it does. I'm sure OPZ could explain in further detail if you'd like what those standards and guidelines mean. But other than that, yes.
Okay.
That's what it does.
So may I have a motion to adopt? Second? Second. Okay, any discussion? Anything else from administration? Okay. Madam, oh, yes, Ms. Rodney.
I just wanted to ask, is this something you could, go to a state library and find in a book form, or where would you get this?
Christina Pompa, Office of Planning and Zoning. It's online.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But you probably need to type the whole title in. It is a long title.
Okay.
And it comes up, it has a blue cover, and it's an older document.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 1.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 1 has been adopted.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please read amendment number 2.
Amendment number 2. This technical amendment corrects 2 typographical errors in this ordinance.
Administration,
That's exactly what it does. Happy to answer any questions.
to continue with our ongoing battle against typos.
That's long-standing policy. That's correct.
So may I have a motion to adopt?
Second.
Second. Is there any discussion? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on amendment number 2.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 has been adopted.
All right. Bill number 1425, as amended, will be heard on April 7th, 2025. Madam Secretary, please read the title, Bill number 1625, as amended.
Bill number 1625, an ordinance concerning zoning requirements for special exception uses, assisted living facilities, community piers, and launching ramps.
Ms. Fiedler, this is your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have discussed this bill in previous meetings as well. At the last meeting, I alluded to another amendment coming because when the bill was drafted, I did not catch that Bill 7224 had language that didn't carry over into the draft of Bill 1625. This amendment makes sure that the bill is in line with 72 24, which will go into effect on July 1. Motion to adopt.
Second.
Administration?
We support this amendment.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Sorry.
we need to hold a public hearing, and we have not read in the amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry. We were just jumping ahead. This is a lot of amendments, so y'all got to be patient with me on this. I'm losing my place on stuff. Okay, so we allowed Ms. Fiedler to speak, and now y'all weighed in. Any discussion? We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 1625 as amended. One. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
No one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 1625? Okay. So now, Madam Secretary, please read the title, Bill 1625 as amended.
Bill number 1625, an ordinance concerning zoning requirements for special exception uses, assisted living facilities, community piers, and launching ramps.
All right. Madam Secretary, please read Amendment number 2.
Amendment number 2. This amendment corrects text in the code as passed in Bill number 7224 and provides for a delayed effective date that coincides with Bill number 7224.
Ms. Fiedler, anything else you want to add?
Nothing further.
Okay. Now motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Do I have a second? Yes. So any more further discussion? Mr. Hunt?
Still support this amendment.
Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Amendment number 2.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Amendment number 2 to Bill 1625 has been adopted.
So Bill number 1625 as amended will be heard on April 7th, 2025. So, okay, here we go. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1825.
Bill number 1825, an ordinance concerning boards, commissions, and similar bodies, Board of Appeals, zoning, administrative hearings, mixed-use districts.
Mr. Hunt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me, I have Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, and Kelly Kenny, our Supervising County Attorney. Bill 1825 amends Articles 3 and 18 relating to the rezoning of mixed-use properties in light of Bill 7524, which was the mixed-use district bill that we passed back in the fall. It requires that any lot designated as a mixed-use planned land use in a region plan that was adopted between May and December of last year, so regions 2, 4, and 7, may not be administratively rezoned to mixed use unless a sector study or plan has been completed and recommends a rezoning of that to mixed use. Also requires that a region plan adopted between January 1st of this year and December 31st of next year, so that's regions 1, 3, 9, 5, 6, and 8. If one of those plans recommends a sector plan or study for a lot that is designated as planned land use, as mixed-use planned land use, it may not be administratively rezoned unless that plan or study is complete and recommends that rezoning. At the appropriate time, I will ask for a motion to hold this bill. One potential issue of it was just brought to my attention a little while ago, but we're happy to answer any questions.
Do we have to vote to hold a bill? Okay. Are there any questions or comments about holding this bill? Ms. Rodvian?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. We still need public hearing. Okay. So, hold on. We will now open the public hearing on Bill number 1825. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
So, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 1825? Okay. So, the public hearing on Bill number 1825 is now closed. And Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 1825.
Bill number 1825, an ordinance concerning boards, commissions, and similar bodies, Board of Appeals, zoning, administrative hearings, mixed-use districts.
Okay. Any further discussion? Do I have a motion to hold?
So moved.
Do you have a second? Second. Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 1825.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to hold the vote to Bill number 1825 until April 7, 2025 has been adopted, has passed, excuse me.
So, Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2025.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Could I make one comment on the bill we just voted to hold over the vote? For anyone who lives in the Ridgely Avenue corridor, I just wanted to let you know that I've investigated and determined, and with our legal help, that this bill cannot be used to in any way impact the decisions that we made in Plan 2040, the regional plan, the comprehensive rezoning cannot be touched by this bill.
All right. Okay, Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2025.
Bill number 2025, an ordinance concerning zoning, conditional uses, townhouse dwellings, and workforce housing.
All right, Mr. Hunt?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ethan Hunt for the administration. With me at the table, I still have Lynn Miller, our Assistant Planning and Zoning Officer, and Kelly Kenny, our Supervising County Attorney. Bill 2025 provides an amendment for the County Code Article 18 regarding conditional use requirements for workforce housing. Currently, the County Code requires the setbacks and height limits for workforce housing for the R22 district to apply to all workforce housing projects. However, those bulk regulations were initially crafted for use just by multifamily dwelling projects, and so don't take into account projects that might be townhomes. This simply clarifies that the setback and height limitations for workforce housing townhomes are those specified in 1810-127, which is applicable to townhomes generally. So that's a maximum height of 40 feet and a setback of 75 feet, unless the adjoining lot is open space or open area, or is located in either the same or more intensive residential or non-residential zone, in which case that setback may be 30 feet. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 2025. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
Yes, Madam Chair. We received 8 pieces which were shared with the council, added to the record, and posted to the website.
Okay. No one has signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 2025? Okay. The public hearing on Bill number 2025 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2025.
Bill number 2025, an ordinance concerning zoning, conditional uses, townhouse dwellings, and workforce housing.
Okay. Any further discussion? All right. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 2025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volke?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 2025 is passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2125.
Bill number 2125, an ordinance concerning zoning, residential districts, use and merger of unimproved lots of substandard area or dimensions.
Ms. Fiedler, this is your bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We discussed this at our previous meeting, but just for reference, the current code allows for development on a substandard lot if you have a common ownership with a neighboring lot. If one of two things is in place, either the lots are merged to be 40,000 square feet or they are served by public water and sewer. If you are not the common owner of the lot next door, you can develop on a substandard lot presently. Smaller lots to larger size lots. This bill allows you to develop on a substandard lot if you are under common ownership with a neighboring lot, if that lot is at least half an acre. Pretty straightforward, and I ask for my colleagues' support this evening.
Is there any discussion on this one? Administration?
Thank you, Madam Chair. As we discussed at the work session, we do have concerns with this bill, especially as it relates to those properties that might be not on public water and sewer. So those would be on septic and wells, and allowing development on a substandard lot. But I'll turn it over to Lynn Miller. She wants to add anything else.
I guess I'll just add that this code section, which we refer to as an antiquated lot law, has been in the code for a long time. It's not uncommon for local zoning codes to have these types of laws in place. It's a policy question, and I think from the administration's end, if it seems like a fairly substantial land use policy to change, and that's not to say whether you should or shouldn't change it, but in our minds, it's fairly substantial, and I think if we were going to change this would be a case where we would want to have more time to consider it, hopefully do some kind of analysis so that we have a better handle on what the actual implications would be. In other words, how many more substandard properties are out there that could be developed on? Where are they in relation to our land use planning, and how substandard they are? Unfortunately, to do that type of analysis is a significant work effort on our part because it involves some database layers which we don't actually have now. We would have to develop them, and it would take some manual research. So it's a large task. If we knew this was coming, we could try to schedule time to do that type of task in our work program. It's not something that we can do on the fly. But without that, I think the administration just feels a little bit like we're operating in the dark to change this policy without more ability to really assess it.
Mr. Wolke.
Thank you, Madam Chair. How long would it take for you to dig in to understand the questions that you had? Because you guys have had this bill 30 days. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm saying it. So I understand you've had a ton of other things you all are working through. What's the time frame that it would require for you to actually dig in and do the analysis that you're talking about?
I can't give you an exact time frame, Councilman Volke, but I would say multiple weeks at least.
Okay.
Possibly multiple months.
Okay. Can I ask a quick follow-up? Thank you. So you indicated that this is a substantial policy change, and I've had experience with that where I've done things and then looked back and said maybe we should do that differently. So can you be a little more specific in what your concerns are with this policy change? Because, like, for instance, Mr. Hunt was mentioning concerns about septic and not being able to have appropriate space for drain fields. But if I'm thinking about that, you just would get that in the development plan and you would say this doesn't work, right? I mean, if you had a 20,000 square foot lot and you couldn't fit the drain fields and you couldn't fit the septic and you couldn't fit the house and you didn't have enough room for a reserve drain field, like when you looked at all of it on a piece of paper, you would just say, we're not going to approve this. So I guess that's where I'm not sure how that plays into your bigger concerns about how this is a major change. So maybe a little more specificity on what the thinking is from OPZ's point of view in terms of how big of a change this is.
Right. Well, I would say it's not just related to septic and whether there's adequate space for a drain field. You're right. If there's not, then the lot wouldn't be able to be approved as a buildable lot.
Right.
But I think, going back in time, and I have to speculate to some extent because this has been in the code since the 80s, well before any of us were here. But the intent, we believe, was to minimize those cases where somebody is going to build a dwelling on a substandard lot because it does have impacts in other ways, whether that's road access or just the odd configuration of a lot that doesn't fit well into the surrounding lots. So the intent was to try to discourage developing new dwellings on substandard lots when there was an alternative, that alternative being the opportunity to merge. So.
Okay.
Ms. Fiedler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would just add that this can already be done, a development on a substandard lot, so long as the owner doesn't have common ownership with the adjacent property. And something else to keep in mind is that all other bulk regulations through the development process would require a variance if the development couldn't reach it or achieve it. And when we were going back and forth in the very beginning, I know in one of the emails you had mentioned that a lot of these lots are smaller, and I had that concern too, which is why the minimum lot size of half an acre is in the bill. So with all of that considered, I I don't know that I completely agree that there's going to be a whole lot of lots that would be impacted by this bill. And again, it's one single family home, so.
Okay. All right, we will now open the public hearing on Bill number 2125. Madam Secretary, did we receive any testimony through the online testimony tool?
No, Madam Chair, we did not.
Okay, no one signed up ahead of time. Is there anyone here who wishes to speak on Bill number 2125? Okay, the public hearing on Bill number 2125 is now closed. Madam Secretary, please read the title of Bill number 2125.
Bill number 2125, an ordinance concerning zoning residential districts, use and merger of unimproved lots of substandard area or dimensions.
Any further discussion? All right, Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Bill number 2125.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Bill number 2125 is passed.
Madam Secretary, please read the title of Resolution number 925.
Resolution number 925, resolution appointing members to the Public Campaign Financing System Commission.
Is there anyone on the council who would like to speak on these appointments? Administration?
Nope.
That's right, and no discussion? Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution 925.
Resolution 925, Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution 925 has been adopted.
May I have a motion to suspend Rule 4-101B of the Council Rules of Procedure to open the agenda to add Resolution number 1025?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Okay. Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. The motion to suspend Rule 4-101B to open up the agenda to add Resolution number 1025 has passed.
We will now read in and vote on Resolution number 1025. Madam Secretary, please read Resolution number 1025.
Resolution number 1025, resolution appointing an acting county auditor, whereas Section 310 of the Charter authorizes the County Council to appoint a county auditor. Now therefore be it resolved by the County Council of Anne Arundel County, Maryland, that it hereby appoints Brenda I. Cutrella, CPA, CRMA, CIA, CFE as acting county auditor effective March 13, 2025 for a period of service through July 11, 2025.
Any comments from any council members? Okay. No discussion. Madam Secretary, please call the roll on Resolution number 1025.
Ms. Pickard?
Aye.
Mr. Volkey?
Aye.
Ms. Fiedler?
Aye.
Ms. Rodvian?
Aye.
Ms. Ledbetter?
Aye.
Mr. Smith?
Aye.
And Ms. Hummer?
Aye.
7 in the affirmative, none in the negative. Resolution number 1025 has been adopted.
Is there any other business any council member would like to bring before the county council at this time? May I
Motion.
have, oh,
Motion to adjourn.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The county council is adjourned until Monday, April 7th, 2025 at 7 p.m. for our next legislative session here in our chambers. Boom. There we go.